All right, well, that's a very special picture because that was in February. That was actually it was in January of Jim Less's senior year, which would have been 1986. That team had won, was in the process of winning 22 straight games. That picture was taken at Veterans Auditorium in Des Moines, as a matter of fact, and it was a television game, and that's a freeze frame of the shot that they used at the beginning of the game with Jim and Hersey. And that game was the one that Jim threw the length of the court pass with 1 second to go to Hersey to beat Drake by 2 points. And it was one of the great shots in Bradley history. And then 2 nights later in Dayton, we had back-to-back road games. Actually, it was a 3-game trip. We went to Wichita first and won. Then we won here. And then we went to Dayton, and they combined in a last-second shot again to tie the game and send it into overtime. So that picture of Jim and Hersey was taken before that Drake game. And you know how you measure events in your life. That was Prescott Bloom, who was a state senator, died in a fire that day before that game. And so you remember things that happened in your life. And also, before this game, a gentleman had a heart attack and died at this game. So those are kind of negative connotations, but you remember things that happen in your life by basketball games. Piece of the field house up there. Last year I had a chance to go to the Final Four in Detroit for the first time, and then drove over to Indianapolis this year to be there. The shot of the Civic Center is just one of the classics of. I think it's against Illinois State, if I remember right. It looks kind of like it, and that's kind of an indicator of the excitement of the game. My picture here with the president, that was my 900th game, and she came up during a timeout and gave me an award. Very close to the president. I think her leadership abilities are off the charts, and she's been very good for me, realizing what my skill sets are and putting me in a position to realize those. I'm also a reader at graduation now, so that picture there was taken at graduation. I've got a piece of brick of the field house that Joe Stoll gave me, and above there, and I'm going to have eventually something framed with Chris Roberts' shot, which was one of the most amazing things that I've ever seen in doing the games. I'm a big Cardinal fan, and that was back when I worked in television. I got to go through a Cardinal fantasy camp that Randy Hundley had, so I actually got to play in Old Busch Stadium. And there's there are pictures of players with Tony Bennett and Jeremy Crouch. Jeremy, I'm from Pekin, so he got a special award from the Pekin City Council, and I was there. When I was at WMBD, President Reagan, I was asked to do an impersonation of him for he and Nancy's a tape that was given to them at the White House for one of their anniversaries. And I never had a chance to meet President Reagan, but he's one of my all-time favorites. My favorite city is New York. I love going back there and just spending time. And actually, the fire chief of the city of New York is a Bradley grad, and had a chance to meet and talk with him, with the president. So anytime I can get back to New York, that's great. Ruff and Will Franklin came by and signed my picture earlier this year. Then I also have a signed picture from the 1950 NCAA and NIT runner-ups with Squeaky Melchiori and Billy Mann and Joe Stoll, Bud Grover. I think Dave Humerich is one of them, Elmer Benke, and Aaron Priest. So that's a special autograph picture. Many of those guys are gone now. Billy Mann is gone. Bud Grover is gone. Elmer Benke is, I think, still living. And so is Squeaky and, of course, Coach Stoll. There's another picture up there with Jimmy and Hersey that was taken downtown at Carnegie's restaurant when they were both at the same time when Jim was a senior and Hersey was a sophomore. And then I have an autographed picture of Marcus Pollard, who's one of the great stories in Bradley history, becoming a 14-year NFL player, having never played college football, and was an outstanding leader and a good basketball player. So those are just some of the things that I have. And then I have all my pins up here. Red are all the places that I've done play-by-play for. White are places that I've just visited, and blue are the places I have visited in my capacity with Bradley. So I've been to every state except North Dakota, Montana, and Idaho. Maybe someday I'll get there. But so that's it. My home has a lot more memorabilia, but I junked this place up enough.